Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadvo Jayamudhiraye Nashta Prayesha Padresha Nityam Bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 17, The History of Kaliya. Shri Rajovacha Nagalayam Ramanakam Katam Tatyaja Kaliyaha Kritam Kim Va Suparnasya Tenaike Na Samanjasam. Having thus heard how Lord Krishna chastised Kaliya, King Parikshit inquired, why did Kaliya leave Ramanaka island, the abode of the serpents, and why did Garuda become so antagonistic toward him alone? Shri Sukha Uvacha Upaharya Sarpajanair Masi Masinha Yo Balihi Vanaspatyo Mahabaho Naganam Pran Nirupitaha Swan Swam Bhagam Prayachanti Naga Parvani Gopitayatmanah Sarve Suparnaya Mahatmane. Shukadeva Goswami said, to avoid being eaten by Garuda, the serpents had previously made an arrangement with him whereby they would each make a monthly offering of tribute at the base of a tree. Thus, every month on schedule, O mighty armed King Parikshit, each serpent would duly make his offering to that powerful carrier of Vishnu as a purchase of protection. विषवीर्यमदाविष्टः काद्रवेशः तु कालियः कदर्थीकृत्य गरुडं स्वयं तं बुभुजे बलिम्. Although all other serpents were dutifully making offerings to Garuda, one serpent, the arrogant Kaliya, son of Kadru, who would eat all these offerings before Garuda could claim them. Thus, Kaliya directly defied the carrier of Lord Vishnu. तच्छ्रुत्वा कुपितो राजन् भगवान् भगवत्प्रियः विजिघांसुर्महावेगः कालीयं समपाद्रवत्. O king, the greatly powerful Garuda, who is very dear to the Supreme Lord, became angry when he heard of this. Desiring to kill Kaliya, he rushed toward the serpent with tremendous speed. तम आपतंत तरसा विषायुध प्रत्यभ्ययाद उत्थित नैकमस्तकः दद्भिः सुपर्णं यदसत् दत् आयुधः करालजिह्रोच्छ्वसितोग्रलोचनः. As Garuda swiftly fell upon him, Kaliya, who had the weapon of poison, raised his numerous heads to counteract. Showing his ferocious tongues and expanding his horrible eyes, Kaliya then bit Garuda with the weapons of his fangs. तं तार्क्ष्यपुत्रः स निरस्य मन्युमान् प्रचण्डवेगो मधुसूदनासनः पक्षेण सव्येन हिरण्यरोचिसा जघान kadrusutam ugravikramah. The angry son of Tarksha moved with overwhelming speed in repelling Kalia's attack. That terribly powerful carrier of Lord Madhusudana struck the son of Kadru with his left wing, which shone like gold. सुपर्णपक्षाभिहतः कालियोतीव विह्वलः हृदं विवेशकालिन्द्यास्तद् अगम्यं दुरासदम्. Beaten by Garuda's wing, Kalia was extremely distraught, and thus he took shelter of a lake adjoining the river Yamuna. Garuda could not enter this lake. Indeed, he could not even approach it. तत्रैकदा जलचरं गरुडो भक्ष्यम् ईप्सितं निवारितः सौभरिणा प्रसह्य क्षुदितो हरत्. In that very lake, Garuda had once desired to eat a fish, fish being, after all, his normal food. Although forbidden by sage Shaubari, who was meditating there within the water, Garuda took courage and, feeling hungry, seized the fish. मीनं सुसु मीनं सु दुःखितान् दृष्ट्वा दीनान् मीनपतौ हते कृपया सौभरिः प्राह तत्रत्य क्षेमम् आचरम्. Seeing how the unfortunate fish in that lake had become most unhappy at the death of their leader, Shaubari uttered the following curse upon the impression that under the impression that he was mercifully acting for the benefit of the lake's residents. अत्र पविष्य गुरुडो यदि मत्स्यान् सखादति सद्यः प्राणैर्वियुज्येत सत्यम् एतद्ब्रवीमि aham. If Garuda ever again enters this lake and eats the fish here, he will immediately lose his life. What I am saying is the truth. तत्कालीयः परं वेद नान्यः कश्चन लेलिहः अवात्सीद् गरुडाद् भीतः कृष्णेन च विवासितः. All of the serpents, of all the serpents, only Kalia came to know of this affair, and in fear of Garuda, he took up residence in that Yamuna lake. Later, Lord Krishna drove him out. कृष्णहृदाद् विनिष्क्रान्तं दिव्यश्रगन्धवाससं महामणिगणाकीर्णं जाम्बूनद जाम्बूनदपरिष्कृतम् उपलभ्योत्थिताः सर्वे लब्धप्राणा इवासवः प्रमोदनिभृतात्मानो गोपा प्रीत्याभिरेभिरे. Resuming his description of Krishna's chastisement of Kaliya, Shukadeva Goswami continued, Krishna rose up out of the lake wearing divine garlands, fragrances, and garments covered with many fine jewels and decorated with gold. When the cowherds saw him, they all stood up immediately, just like an unconscious person's senses coming back to life. Filled with great joy, they affectionately embraced him. यशोदारोहिणी नन्दो गोप्य गोपाश्च कौरवा कृष्णं समेत्य लब्धेन आसन् शुष्का नगा अपि. Having regained their vital functions, Yashoda, Rohini, Nanda, and all other cowherd women and men went up to Krishna. O descendant of Kuru, even the dried up trees came back to life. रामश्चाच्युतम् आलिङ्ग्य जहासासानु जहासास्यानुभवा sorry रामश्चाच्युतम् आलिङ्ग्य जहासास्यानुभव जहासास्युभाववित् प्रेम्णा तम् अङ्कम् आरोप्य पुनर्पुनः उदैक्षत गावो वृषा वत्सतर्यो लेभिरे परमामुदम्. Lord Balarama embraced his infallible brother and laughed, knowing well the extent of Krishna's potency. Out of great feelings of love, Balarama lifted Krishna up on his lap and repeatedly looked at him. The cows, bulls, and young female calves also achieved the highest pleasure. नन्दं विप्राः समागत्य गुरवः सकलत्रकाः ऊचुस्ते कालिया ग्रस्तो दिष्ट्या मुक्तस्तवात्मजः. All the respectable Brahmanas, together with their wives, came forward to greet Nanda Maharaj. They said to him, "Your son was in the grips of Kaliya, but by the grace of Providence, he is now free." देहि दानं द्विजानीतां कृष्णनिर्मुक्तिहेतवे नन्दः प्रीतमनाराजन् गा सुवर्णं तदादिशत्. The Brahmanas then advised Nanda Maharaj, to assure that your son Krishna will always be free from danger, you should give charity to the Brahmanas. With a satisfied mind, O king, Nanda Maharaj then very gladly gave them gifts of cows and gold. यशोदापि महाभागा नष्टलब्धप्रजा सती परिष्वज्याङ्कम् आरोप्य मुमोचाश्रुकलां मुहुः. The greatly fortunate mother Yashoda, having lost her son and then regained him, placed him on her lap. That chaste lady cried constant torrents of tears as she repeatedly embraced him. तां रात्रिं तत्र राजेन्द्र क्षुत्रभ्यां श्रमकर्षिताः ऊषुर्व्ययौकसो गावः कालिन्द्या उपकूलतः. O best of kings, Parikshit, because the residents of Vrindavan were feeling very weak from hunger, thirst, and fatigue, they and the cows spent the night where they were lying down near the bank of the Kalindi. तदा शुचि वनोद्भू वनोद्भूतो दावाग्नि सर्वतो व्रजं सुप्तं निशीत आवृत्य प्रदग्धुम उपचक्रमे. During the night, while all the people of Vrindavan were asleep, a great fire blazed up within the dry summer forest. The fire surrounded the inhabitants of Vraja on all sides and began to scorch them. तत उत्थाय सम्भ्रान्ता दह्यमानव्रजौकसः कृष्णं ययुस्ते शरणं मायामनुजम् ईश्वरम्. Then the residents of Vrindavan woke up extremely disturbed by the great fire threatening to burn them. Thus they took shelter of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who by his spiritual potency appeared like an ordinary human being. Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga, Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga, हे रामामित विक्रम एषो घोरतमो वह्निस्तावकान् ग्रसते हि नः. Vrindavana's residents said, Krishna, Krishna, O Lord of all opulence, O Rama, possessor of unlimited power, this most terrible fire is about to devour us, your devotees. सुदुस्तरान्नः स्वान् पाहि कालाग्ने सुहृदः प्रभो न शक्नुमस्त्वच्चरणं सन्त्यक्तुम् अकुतो भयम्. O Lord, we are your true friends and devotees. Please protect us from this insurmountable fire of death. We can never give up your lotus feet, which drive away all fear. इत्थं स्वजनः वैक्लव्यं निरीक्ष्य जगदीश्वरः तन् अग्निम् अपिबत् तीव्रम् अनन्तोऽनन्त शक्तिधृक्. Seeing his devotees so disturbed, Sri Krishna, the infinite Lord of the universe and possessor of infinite power, then swallowed the terrible forest fire. Thus ends this chapter 17, the history of Kaliya from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So we go through the purports very briefly to understand. Here there are a few points very important for us to understand. The background here given is that Kaliya was taking shelter of Yamuna. In fact, we all want to take shelter of Vrindavana, isn't it? We all want to take shelter of Vrindavan because Vrindavan is the abode of blessings, where if we want, we can seek blessings. But what is the activity of one who seeks shelter is to engage in the service of the Lord, to engage in the service of the Dhama. What is it called? Dham, Seva. Hmm? and one should be careful to avoid dham aparad. And here Krishna has punished Kalia because though the serpent for its own protection has took shelter, yeah, of this very sacred river Yamuna, but it also started polluting because of false ego. And of course, here we were talking about Kalia himself said, "Oh Lord, it is the law of nature for us, uh, like us, yeah, the creatures, to be very envious and very angry. So that's what we were made of. But yeah, a human being also may say the same, right? After all, yes, we are in the mode of ignorance, we are more in the passion, we can also stay like that. Please forgive. Hmm? But when we approach the Dham, we should be careful to understand from these two chapters how careful we should be. In fact, here it is said, Parikshit Maharaj is asking, why did Kalia leave Ramanaka Island? Hmm? Saying so, Sridhar Swami has given an alternative explanation of this second verse. In the second verse, second, third verse, upaharya um, means, one sec- yeah, upaharya means one who were qualified to make offerings. Upahar is something that we want to offer. Upaharya means one who is giving offerings. Sarpajanai. So here what happened is that to avoid being eaten by Garuda. Yeah. In fact, we may see Garuda is a devotee of the Lord. How come that Garuda is interested to play or fight with the snakes as an enemy and eat uh, um, these snakes? We may see here. We can see Sridhar Swami has given an alternate explanation to this verse. Upaharyai may also be translated as by those who are to be eaten, which means snakes are, yeah, by the law of nature, are to be eaten by Garuda, by the eagles. Sarpajane, as those human beings who were denominated by or who belong to the serpent race. According to this reading, a group of human beings had fallen under the control of serpents and were prone to be eaten by them. To avoid this, the human beings would make a monthly offering to the serpents, hmm, who in turn would offer a portion of that offering to Garuda so that he would not eat them. So this is further deeper understanding that it is not that Hmm. It's about eating, but it's actually that the human beings are offering something, monthly offering to the serpents, uh, as a process of a ritual. Yeah, and then the serpents are giving that offering to Garuda. The particular translation given above is based on the commentary of Srila Sanatana Goswami and the translation by Srila Prabhupada in his Krishna is what we have read before. In any case, all the acharyas agree that the serpents purchased protection from Garuda. Yeah, whether we can see whether the human beings have offered to serpents and serpents are giving it to Garuda, or the other translation where the serpents wants protection, that's why they seek shelter from Garuda. In both the case, it is same. And then it goes. And then this great, powerful Garuda, who was very dear to the Lord, became very angry when he heard that this Kalia is eating already. Whatever the offers are given to the serpent, or whatever the offerings are there, this Kalia, one serpent is eating, is taking it instead of giving it to Garuda. Srila Sanatan Goswami explains the word Mahavega indicates that the great speed of Garuda cannot be checked by anyone. Hmm. And then, as Garuda fell upon Kalia, Kalia immediately raised what do you call heads to attack. Kalia then bit Garuda with the weapon of his fangs and purport. The Acharyas explain that Kalia used his weapon of poison at a distance by spitting venom upon his enemy and at short range by biting him with his terrible fangs. So it did both things. One is ఒకసారి అక్కడ చూడండి. I think agarbat hai, I think. Hmm. So in both ways, one is that it spit this venom incense stick, and the other one is it when it came closer, yeah, it has bit with his these fangs. Hmm. So in that way, it was protecting itself. And then when Kalia felt it was completely devastated, all its strength, yeah. When we have strength, we try to fight our best. When we understand we are weak, then we start either surrendering or escaping, or so here this snake has the serpent Kalia has entered into Kalindi, Yamuna river. Why? Because it very well knows that Garuda had a curse. Garuda cannot come. Garuda, um, by nature, it eats fishes. That's why it was about to eat the fish in Yamuna river. But at that time, Shobari Muni, he said, he has forbidden not to eat because this Shobari Muni, out of affection, protection to the beings in the water, he said, don't do it. He wanted to give protection. That was the purpose for him to stop. Sukadeva Goswami is now explaining why Garuda could not approach the lake in the Yamuna river. It is the nature of birds to eat fish, and thus by the arrangement of Lord, the great bird Garuda does not commit any offense by nourishing himself with fish. Huh. So in that way, it is right that Garuda can easily go and eat fish. On the other hand, Shobari Muni is forbidding a much greater personality to eat his normal food did constitute an offense. So Shobari Muni, by stopping Garuda, actually has committed an offense. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, Shobari committed two offenses. What are they? First, he dared to give an order to a supremely exalted soul like Garuda. Yeah, this means we have to appreciate the etiquette. One who is very close to the Lord, here in this case, a devotee like Garuda, should be well respected. We may think he is doing wrong, but we are wrong. And what second offense he did was he obstructed Garuda from satisfying his desire. Hmm? He stopped Garuda. Second thing is he gave order. So these are two things. And then seeing how the unfortunate fish in that lake has become most unhappy at the death of their leader, Shaubari now, because Garuda anyway, yeah, he ate. He ate the fish. After all, that was his nature. Yeah, that was his food. Yeah, who can stop one not to eat uh, his food? So, and then Shobari Muni uttered this curse uh, um, that he was thinking, by this curse I am doing good. I am mercifully acting for the benefit of lake's residents. The purport says, in this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur explains that when our so-called compassion does not tally with the order of the Supreme Lord, it merely causes a disturbance. This is very important. That's why let us not think what is profit, what is loss. Sometimes what we do thinking is profit is actually a loss, and what we think we are losing is actually a profit. Our intelligence is so bad, so that's why we need to have a guide, a person, a guru who can help us to help us out to make right decisions, to make us uh, right steps towards Krishna consciousness, in Krishna consciousness. And here Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur is saying this so-called compassion of Saubhari Muni is actually a disturbance. Because Shobari has forbidden Garuda's coming into that lake, Kalia moved in and made his headquarters there, and this spelled doom for all the lake's residents. If Garuda ever again enters this lake and eats the fish here, he will immediately lose his life. What I am saying is true. This is what he is saying. The Acharyas explain in this regard that because Shobari Muni's material attachment and affection for a fish. In fact, we know this Saubari Muni, he was the one who wanted to go into the waters and do meditation. and because when he saw two fishes copulating, he got disturbed. Yeah, so that shows that yeah, Shobari Munis had material desires or attachment and affection for a fish. He failed to see the situation from the spiritual viewpoint. Hmm. Yeah, it is said in the ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes his fall down from this offense for this offense. Because of false pride, Shobari Muni lost his power of austerity and with it his spiritual beauty and happiness. When Garuda came to the Yamuna, Shobari Muni thought, although he may be a personal associate of the Supreme Lord, I will still curse him and even kill him if he disobeys my order. Such an offensive attitude against an exalted Vaishnava will certainly destroy one's auspicious position in life. Finish. As in the ninth canto describes, Shobari Muni married many beautiful women and suffered greatly in their association. But because he had once become glorious by taking shelter of Yamuna river in Sri Vrindavan Dham, he was ultimately delivered. Anyway. So in this way, we can see that uh, Kalia had a chance to save himself by taking shelter of Yamuna. But when he took shelter of Yamuna, then he started polluting it and causing all disturbances, and Krishna had to come and um, uh, destroy the pride. Hmm. We are talking about, yeah, in Kartika month, very fortunate to discuss so many Leelas of the Lord where he started blasting all the pride in, for example, when we're talking about Indra Bhang, when it comes Govardhan Leela, we know happened in the Kartika month, right? And then there is the Kalia. Here, Kalia, who was very proud, we can see what happened. Krishna just tampered that, and this was a great delight for all the inhabitants. They restored their lives back, and with great affection, they um, mm, took. Because of the residents of Vrindavan feeling very weak from hunger, thirst, and fatigue, they and the calves spent the night along the Kalindi river. And here, in the purport, Srila Jiva Goswami points out that although the people were weak from hunger and thirst, they did not drink the milk from the cows present there because they feared it had been contaminated by serpent's poison. The residents of Vrindavan were so overjoyed to get back their beloved Krishna that they did not want to go back to their houses. They wanted to stay with Krishna on the bank of the Yamuna so that they could continuously see him. Thus, they decided to take rest near the river bank. But then what happened? That night there was a forest fire. There was a forest fire. This fire was surrounding the inhabitants of Vraja on all sides and became very, very hot. Srila Sanatana Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have commented that perhaps a loyal friend of Kalia had assumed the form of a forest fire to avenge his friend, or perhaps the forest fire was manifest by a demon who was a follower of Kamsas. So, in both the cases, there was this fire. Then the residents of Vrindavan woke up extremely disturbed by this and they took shelter of Krishna. The word Shruti, we know in the purport it's meant Shruti means or Vedic mantras state Swarupa Bhutaya Nitya Shakta Maya Khyaya. The Lord's eternal potency named Maya is innate in his original form. Thus, within the eternal spiritual body of the Supreme Lord, there is infinite potency which effortlessly manipulates all existence according to the omniscient desire of the Absolute. In summary, it is said, the residents of Vrindavan took shelter of Krishna thinking, this blessed boy will certainly be empowered by God to save us. That was the understanding. Why? Because they remembered the words of Gargamuni. He said, Anena Sarva Durgani. Durga means obstacles. Anena Sarva Durgani Yuyam Anjas Tarishyata. Uh, by his power, you will easily be able to cross over all obstacles. That's why whenever there is an issue, whenever there is a problem, they say Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga, here Rama Mita Vikrama Esha Ghora Tamo Vahnis Tavakan Grasatehi Naha. They asked, protect us from this terrible fire. And Krishna, uh, they said, we can never give up your lotus feet, which drives away all fear. And with that prayers, they approached Krishna. Seeing his devotee so disturbed, Sri Krishna, the infinite Lord of the universe and possessor of infinite power, then swallowed the terrible forest fire. Huh? What it was, yeah, for us, we can't even imagine. Hmm. Yeah, Krishna just swallowed the forest fire. Yeah, we know when recently there was a forest fire in Australia, when there was a forest fire, I don't know, in the US, in Los Angeles, where the Hollywood stars are. Then, yeah, it took so many days for them to come up, clear the fires. But Krishna, yeah, is so infinite powerful. It is said, last one it was, s- Ittam Swajana Vaiklavyam Nirikshya Jagad Ishvara Tam Agnim Apibat Tivram. Apibat means to drink. Pibat means to drink. Apibat means, yeah, to drink. Tivram, this terrible fire. Tivram Ananto Ananta Shaktidrik. Ananta, possessor of unlimited potencies. Yeah, he can do anything. Thank you very much.